Hello and welcome back to another video today here again on Forza Horizon 5 to test out another brand new festival playlist car. So this week for 20 points in the festival playlist you can win the 2020 Nissan GTR Nismo. So the Nismo obviously being the more powerful, lighter, more track focused version of the R35 GTR in this case. We do have the 2017 standard R35 GTR in the game already, so this is kind of just the next step up from that with some insane performance. So similar to the 2017 car, it has a 3.8 litre V6, but in this car it produces 600 horsepower, 45 more than the 2017 car. It produces 653 newton meters of torque, again up from the 2017 car's 643. And weighs 1,754 kilos, so lighter than the standard 1,784. Similar to that car though, it is all-wheel drive and has, well, you might know, insane 0 to 60 times. Supposedly we can get from 0 to 60 in 2.8 seconds and go on to a speed of 195 miles an hour, which isn't all that bad for a car that costs, well, relatively little money compared to the other cars in that segment. It's not cheap though, it is still £177,000 here in the UK. So yeah, it's not a cheap car, but those performance stats aren't too bad, and here in Forza, that gives it a PI rating of S1 class 846. So anyway, I think we should head on out, see what 0 to 60 in 2.8 seconds feels like, and see if we can get on to that 195 mile an hour top speed. So, first of all, let's see what 0 to 60 in 2.8 seconds feels like. Not quite that, because spun the wheels up far too much. That little brake-like bit on the wing is really annoying. Why is it not just up at the height of the... Anyway, let's try this with proper launch control. More like it. But yeah, incredibly fast in a straight, but it is, even this slightly lighter one, it is still a heavy car. It's a big car. It's still got rear seats. It's big, it's heavy. It can add as much carbon fibre as they want. It's still not a light car. So it'll be interesting to see how close we can get to the 195 top speed here in-game. As for the interior, it's kind of much like a normal GTR, except with much Alcantara on the dashboard. That's the only difference I can kind of see, really. Apart from that, it's kind of much like a GTR. You've got the ridiculously complicated screen in the middle that tells you all kinds of stuff you don't need to know. At the moment it appears to have a rev counter with -5 revs on it. Weird. It just about matches up to what's going on over here. Anyway, we conveniently find ourselves at the start of the motorway, so let's see whether we can hit 195 or whether we require the downhill section of the motorway to actually hit the top speed. That would be a yes. We're doing 200 and it won't go higher than 209 because it's bouncing the limiter. But it would appear it can do 209, which is way more than it should be able to. So, yes, it is quite fast. But that's kind of your 0 to 60 and your straight line speed. What do we think it can do if we take it for some laps of the festival? So, as with every other new car, the GTR was given 5 laps around the festival, and what you're seeing here is the fastest lap I managed to set. So as a baseline time, I took the standard GTR, the 2017, that I was talking you through the stats of, that's slightly heavier, slightly less powerful. I took that around first as a benchmark time, and that set a time of 105.999, but remember that's quite a bit lower PI, so we're expecting this to beat that by a chunk. This is in fact 1 PI lower than a Lamborghini Aventador, which set a 103 something. So yeah, that's kind of roughly where we're expecting it to sit, somewhere in the middle of S1 class times. It was noticeably, it kind of felt lighter than the standard GTR. The turn-in was so much better, and the downforce at the back, you could really feel the back end broke loose a little bit on the other one, not loads because it's all-wheel drive. You do still have to be aware to brake a little bit early because it is still a heavy car, even if it is substantially lighter than that one. So the best lap time I could get out of the Nismo was a 103.897, which is exactly the same, interestingly, as the Aventador J, which is down at 839 PI. So really it should have gone a bit faster. It wasn't an excellent lap as my laps go. That was actually only on the second lap I set the time, and I kept making mistakes after that, basically, trying to push a little bit more. But yeah, given it wasn't a perfect lap, that wasn't a bad time at all. But I think, given a slightly better lap, and really it should be closer to the Lamborghini Aventador that's 1 PI higher, just above it there. That was only about a tenth faster, so I think really it should have been right there with that car, or possibly slightly faster. I don't think it's fast enough to go round in 103.3, that's kind of where the next cars are, the likes of the XJ220 and the Ferrari Monza. I don't think it would get to that speed, but I think it should be able to at least give the Aventador a run for its money around there. But anyway, I have heard it's pretty good in S1 class, so, well, let's go and upgrade it, see what options are available, and take it around again. So as ever, let's take a look at the conversions and aero and appearance options, because there's sometimes some unique stuff in here before we get going with our build. Obviously there's a, well, rear-wheel drive conversion this time, because it's an all-wheel drive car, and that was the only option in there, right? Yeah, there's no engine swaps. Interesting. But there is, well, that, does it actually change the, oh wow, it brings the PI up a lot. And it kind of makes it look like not a Nismo by painting. Why does it paint the... And it removes those, it kind of covers over those, it kind of makes it look like a normal GTR. It does, it changes the... I'm not sure if I like that. I think this should be a kit on the normal GTR, not on the Nismo. Because I feel like it kind of loses its Nismo-ness. I mean, it is matte, so I might end up doing it anyway, but... that option is there, but it's quite heavy on the PI, so I'm not sure it would actually help all that much. Anyway, that's those options, and then you've also got Forza Aero if you prefer that for some reason. Oh, okay, we've got hedgehog fins. That's definitely what those are called. Vortex thingies. We've got vortex thingies and a wing, well, sort of ducktail boot lid. That's quite cool. Or we've got massive wing, or Forza wing. Are any of these adjustable other than the Forza one? That one is, so that's probably the one you want, because it doesn't look quite as hideous as that. But that's kind of a, well, another look. Okay, so there's quite a few options. Oh, I haven't even gone on that yet. Oh, wow. Yes, you could go quite wild, actually, with a wide body and that and the big spoiler. I think maybe just because those options are there, I should use them. But anyway, let's quickly upgrade it to the top of S1 before seeing what it's like. Okay, so after a bit of fiddling about trying to get the tune how I wanted it, it's now, well, finished. I'm not sure that's going to be enough power, though. We've got 742 horsepower. It only weighs 1,500 kilos now. I thought weight reduction was important. I did put rally tyres on in the end and did go for the full wide body, just because it was an option, although I'm not convinced it was worth it. But we'll find out. Let's see how it does now that it's been upgraded. So, as with the stock version of the car, it was given another 5 laps around the festival to see what the best time it could set was. So, currently still at the top of the S1 class leaderboard is the XJ220 TWR with a 59.1, which is quite a bit faster than everything else. There's quite a number of cars in the sort of mid-59s, 59.4, 59.5 sort of range. So, yeah, the slower S1 class cars are over a minute. But it didn't feel too bad. I was kind of wondering whether slightly less grip from the tyres would well, slow it down a bit, but it drove really nicely and felt fast. So I kind of thought we would have set quite a good lap here. Obviously, it wasn't my best lapping of the circuit today, as of the stock version. I don't feel like I was driving quite as well as usual, but I did still think it had set quite a fast time, and you probably already guessed from me saying that it wasn't actually as quick as I thought it was. This last corner was a bit irritating. I had to slow down more than I thought I should. So unfortunately it was, well, slower than it felt to drive, and couldn't break the 1 minute. So it was sitting at a 1 minute point 1. So slightly faster than yesterday's 488 challenge, and it kind of felt nicer to drive. Like I said, it felt like a good lap. So I think potentially with a couple of tweaks, or if somebody who knows what they're doing tunes it, it could be fast. It felt like it should have been quicker, although my times were fairly consistent, and I couldn't... It wasn't the best lap, but there wasn't loads of places where I could have made up time, I don't think. I think it probably could have got below the 1 minute, but to get to a 59.1, it wouldn't be anywhere near the Jag, I don't think. So it wouldn't be too bad, but it's not going to be one of the best cars in the class. But yeah, I know I said with the Ferrari yesterday that it wasn't very quick at all, and this I'm saying is, even though it was only 0.2 faster, but it just felt nicer to drive. So I think, given the right tune and driven well, this would be faster than that at the top of S1. So overall, not really a bad car. Drives nicely, stock is reasonable, sets a lap somewhere where you'd expect it. Is much faster than its real-life counterpart in a straight line for some reason, and, well, it has a wide body, which is unusual on a lot of cars these days, with a couple of different rear wing options, which is nice to see, although I think I prefer it without, because it kind of loses its Nismo-ness by having the wide body on. But anyway, overall, not a bad car, so probably worth going and giving it a go. If, well, you want a wide-body GTR, if you want something that's kind of okay in S1, it's not going to be too bad. And, well, I think it looks really good, actually, in the midnight purple that I managed to find. But anyway, that is going to be all for a first look at the GTR Nismo here on Forza Horizon 5. I will be back some point soon to take a look at the Forza Edition Mini that was one of the overall festival prize cars, so that'll be a bit of fun. It's electric for some reason, the Forza Edition, so yeah, I'll be checking that one out soon if you want to see a similar video on that. But for now, for a first look at the Nismo GTR, that is going to be all, so thank you very much for watching, and I'll be back with the next video very soon.